It's not that the Vedic way of life is promoting that, okay, brahmachari means no sex. Grihasta means sex. This is wrong understanding. That is not. Okay, get married and have sex. That is Grihasta. No, there are so many rules and regulations. In fact, Prabhupada said that one should have sex only for procreation. If you don't want children, no sex. And if you want children, that also you have to plan, according to Prabhupada. That means if you want to be a proper Grihastha, according to Prabhupada's standards, before the act of impregnation, husband and wife has to chant 50 rounds and then only engage in the act of impregnation. So just see how difficult it is. And then once impregnation is over, successfully impregnated, then you cannot have sex. No more. And then afterwards, if you don't want any more child, then no more. So just see, sometimes brahmacharis are so foolish, they think I have to become a grihastha because I cannot control my sex force. I cannot control. Because he is thinking. But there also in the Grihasta ashram, if you want to be a proper Grihastha, according to what Prabhupada said, you want to have 2-3 children, or even if you want to have one child, then maximum you are getting married for having sex 4-5 times, that's all. How foolish it is. Correct? But he is thinking that for that I will have to get married. And the actual process of Grihastha, Garbhadana Samskara is if one follows the principles of Garbhadana Samskara, there is no difference between the spiritual consciousness of a Grihastha or a Brahmachari, if you follow whatever Prabhupada says. So, it is not, one should never think that I will change my ashram because of, license. License is a very little license, very small license according to Prabhupada. It's a very small license. So just for that why one should take it? Rather, one should work hard to control one's senses, because there also one had to control one's senses. Here also you have to control your senses. So here, at least in Brahmacharya, if suppose somebody is a missionary, in Brahmacharya ashram is much freer, no headache, one can be free to take more responsibility. Now the Grihastha has to take responsibility for his children. That means he has to make them Krishna conscious, he has to guide them, he has to keep track of them, train them, and all these things, right? So that service, a brahmachari, when he becomes a senior brahmachari, very easily so many bhaktas he can train. He can do that service also to help others become Krishna conscious. Why one has to have one's own children in order to train in Krishna? Prabhu, I want to become Grihastha because I want to, bring up some Krishna conscious children. So many bhaktas are there. Now you bring them all up in Krishna consciousness. Nobody will stop you. Give them association, give them time, train them. So from all angles, these are not the reasons ultimately one should properly change ashrama or anything. If ultimately the karma is like that, if Krishna wishes, it's a different story. It's a different matter. But these reasons should not be the reasons for change of ashrama. At least, for the reason that, no, I cannot control my senses, therefore I shall. In both ashramas you have to control senses. In all ashramas you have to control senses. Controlling senses is a basis of spiritual life. Tapasya is a basis of spiritual life. In Brahmacharya ashram there is one type of tapasya. In Grihastha ashram there is another type of tapasya. So if you are not ready to take up the tapasya, then you are not fit for spiritual life. So we have to be ready to take up tapasya in spiritual life. It is not that if in Krishna consciousness movement, if we become Grihasthas, then we become regular Grihasthas. Regular Grihasthas, the rules are there, very nicely, described, even in Bhagavatam, everywhere. The wife should decorate herself very nicely with nice jewels and, nice perfume and all, go before the husband, satisfy the husband. Then somebody reads these things, Prabhupada said these things. Therefore, I have to deck my wife with this and that and all those things. I need funds. No, Prabhupada said like this. Prabhupada is telling what is a Vedic culture, normal Vedic culture. We want to take the essence of the Vedic culture, and everywhere we have to understand that if we are following the Varnashrama Dharma, it is for nowhere Vishnu is taken out of sight. It is for his pleasure. Current time, place and circumstances, it is for his pleasure that we are doing. So in Krishna consciousness movement, in that way, if you take to Krishna, if you take to Grihasta life, it is much, if you strictly want to follow what Prabhupada said, it is more difficult than being a brahmachari. Why? Because you have to have an austere life. You can't say, I am a Grihasta, then let me have, a big bungalow, or let me have this, my own house. You are a Brahmana Grihasta. Whatever Krishna gives, you take. My tomorrow is in Lord's hands. That's the meaning of Brahmana. Brahmana means he does not think of his tomorrow. He does not think of all these things. He is absorbed in Brahman, or he is absorbed in preaching Brahman. Preaching about the spirit, not getting entangled in this material world, securing himself and all these things. That is not the spirit of the Grihasta. Suppose dutifully some things have to be done, that will be done. Minimum. But otherwise the whole spirit is husband, wife, children are all charged to become Krishna conscious. Are all every day nicely chanting, hearing and taking only Krishna prasadam. These are all very important for Grihasta life. Going to restaurants and eating and all these things, finish. The spiritual life is finished. It all begins in a small way, dilute, finish, everything is finished. Associating with the karmis. Even after in Krishna consciousness movement, you become Grihastas. Not that now I become Grihasta, now I mingle freely with the karmis. My old relatives and this and then you will slowly get absorbed, you will become one of them. You will think like that. I need house, I need that, I need wealth, I need this, all these things I need will come. And then you will suffer like anything. Because the moment desires come, it is a formula for suffering. And then you will not be happy. When you are not happy, you can't chant Hare Krishna. Because so many desires are there. And not only that, you see that Krishna consciousness life, you start thinking Krishna consciousness life is not complete. It's a fact. Krishna consciousness is not complete without Hare Krishna. If you chant Hare Krishna, everything will be provided, everything will be taken care. Including, it will be taken care that unnecessary desires won't come at all. At the root itself, you are solving the problem. So nobody should think in Krishna consciousness movement that, even a Grihasta life is a regular Grihasta life. If somebody comes to that consciousness, then they become a burden to the missionary organization. They become a burden. What to do? His consciousness has fallen. Now nothing can be done. He is part of the organization. It's a burden. He'll always be dissatisfied. This is not there, that is not there, that's not there. So many burdens, unnecessary. Never be happy. So in short, to be a Grihasta, according to Prabhupada's formula, is not a escapism. It is not an escape route for brahmacharis. So never brahmacharis become Grihasta thinking it is an escape route. It's a relief. No, it is not a relief. It's like jumping from walking on nails to walking on charcoal. Tapasya is always there. If you are not ready for tapasya, then spiritual life itself you are not understood.
You said that only in rare circumstances where it is karma or Krishna's desire, one becomes Grihasta. But
not
what
Krishna's
can be
desire.
such circumstances?
Not Krishna's desire, doesn't directly. Karma, you say.
Karma.
Krishna's desire and all very rare.
Yeah. So
you should be so great.
We don't see any valid reason in that case.
Huh?
We don't see any valid reason at all in that case for anybody to think of becoming Grihasta.
Yeah. There is no valid reason. That is why it said it is foolish. If you have intelligence, you will see others' experience. Then you will not, you will be free man, whole life, Prabhupada's servant, free. Vasudeva Kutumbam. The whole world is your Kutumba. Everybody is your spiritual ward. I have to preach to everybody. Because in preaching also then there is, okay, I have to preach, I have a big burden to bring up my Krishna children into Krishna consciousness. So for that you have to sacrifice other preachings. So you narrow down. So whereas if you remain single, then you see, Vasudeva Kutumbam. You're free to preach. So much difference. So you're free in so many ways.
Before my marriage, one senior devotee given wonderful advice that being a brahmachari, the sense object is not there in front of you. It is easy to control. But once we get married, sense object is in front of you. Now with that you have to control. That point in time, as you rightly said, because of karma in the form of Maya, it didn't strike. Now, very much, I'm
all
experiencing.
grihasthas should give their experiences to brahmacharis. That is good association.
But many devotees are refusing and putting some seal that Nandanandan is very dangerous.
No, doesn't matter. Even at that cost, you speak the truth.
Going on, Prabhu.
You speak the truth, those who want to hear the truth will hear the truth. If we have come to Krishna consciousness with a missionary spirit, then you get married, especially with somebody who is not with a missionary spirit, then your missionary spirit is dead. Very important. But today you see, in Prabhupada's time, women used to join, just like men used to join. I want to preach. I want to dedicate my life to preach Krishna consciousness. In that way they used to come and they used to Prabhupada used to get married. But today it's a very dangerous situation. From somewhere people who have not read Prabhupada's book, we have not got that feeling to surrender, not, got into the Krishna consciousness thing, you go and get married, what is the hope? You fall into their well. You were a missionary, your only spirit was to spread Krishna consciousness, then you fall into the normal world well. Very sad. Very easily, you won't know that. Slowly, it will happen. You may say, no Prabhu, I'll preach to her. I'll make her Krishna conscious. Preaching can happen the other way around. You will get preached. So much risk is there. Why all this adventure? I'm just be simple, no. Why all? Some trouble, some sense disturb now and then. And also, tell me one thing. Is it 24 hours disturbing senses? No. Maybe, maybe a few minutes here and there. So far, solving a problem of few minutes here and there, you are taking a burden for 24 hours. Not very intelligent.